Tension has peaked between the US and Iran after Tehran warned America yesterday not to redeploy a US aircraft carrier to the Persian Gulf.
That's right. Iranian Army Commander Major General Salehi hinted at using newly tested surface-to-sea missiles in order to prevent re-entry. Now, the US has hit back, dismissing Iran's warning as a ploy to deflect attention from the fact that Iran is facing the heat from the sanctions imposed. Iran insists that the naval drills were partly to demonstrate its power over the Strait of Hormuz, which is a critical shipping channel, and is now threatening to shut it. The dispute has already pushed up oil prices. To see how that will affect India, we are being joined by Narendra Taneja. He is the South Asia Bureau Chief of Upstream. Thank you, Mr. Taneja, for speaking to us on CNN IBN. Well, to just begin with, the oil prices, world oil prices have already hiked by 4%. Now, will that in a sense affect the Indian market also, or with Iran going through the financial crisis, will India be in a better position to strike a deal for deeper discounts for Iran oil?
Well, you see, Iran, as you know, is a major supplier, and we source roughly 40% of our total oil requirement from the Middle East, the area where Iran, of course, plays a very important role. And given the situation, and we import roughly about 78 to 80% of our crude requirement from different parts of the world, including the Middle East, which includes Iran. So in such a scenario, for us, our companies such as Indian Oil, Bharat Petroleum, Hindustan Petroleum, they probably would be left with no other alternative but to increase the price of petrol in particular, because they are allowed to increase the price of petrol. But given the political environment in the country and coming, elections in five states, I think government may find politically it very difficult to increase the price at this time. But at the same time, the pressure is so high that probably the government would also be left with no other alternative to allow these companies to increase the price of petrol. Maybe by 1 rupee 50 paisa, 1 rupee 60 paisa. Coming to the second part of your question, you see, Iran these days they don't offer any special rate to any country, and Iran needs money more than any other country in the Middle East or in the OPEC. So I don't think that Iran is going to offer any such thing. Number one. Number two, even if they do, we are facing difficulty, from the United Nations and from the United States, and they probably won't allow any that kind of deal.
Mr. Taneja, we all know the kind of domestic compulsions that India faces internally, of course. But having said that, considering India also has a formidable stake in the region, do you think we can perhaps play a more proactive role in perhaps trying to diffuse the crisis at this elementary stage?
Very good question. In fact, my information is India has been trying to play a role, kind of try to bring Iran and the United States together. And there have been kind of, channels where India has been the major player. But so far, there is we haven't achieved any success. And with the elections coming, the United States, the U.S. attitude on Iran is going to be also an important factor in domestic American politics. And at the same time, within Iran, there are, forces, especially those who are like a little bit more, fundamentalist. They want some kind of military tension in the region because they feel that will help them, to strengthen their own, forces within the country. So I think it's not going to be that easy.